Another round of snow. What does it mean for your morning commute? Plus, how many more rounds as we head into the weekend? I'll let you know in the forecast.
There's no reason it should have happened. Somebody needs to be responsible.
A young woman dies in a Duchesne County jail. Her friends and family tonight heartbroken over a judge's decision. Why they say their fight for justice is far from over.
Weeks into the season and the ski bus finally starts up this weekend. Why skiers and riders are still worried about traffic in the canyons.
Ski lifts are exceedingly safe, but it's still in the public good to have education and transparency.
And the Fox 13 News investigative team holding the state accountable when it comes to ski lift safety. How a records dispute will impact the future.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
Thanks for joining us tonight, everyone. Our top story right now is the weather. We told you the snow was going to come, and boy, did Mother Nature deliver tonight.
It is cold and slick out there. Let's get right to Utah's weather authority, Breck Bolton, filling in for Allison Krogan tonight. Breck, is this going to continue into the morning drive?
Well, we're going to see snow throughout the evening into the early morning hours. As this snow, not a lot, but this light snow with just a thin coating on the roads. Boy, we're seeing all kinds of traffic issues here, especially across northern Utah. Today, though, initially the focus was across southern Utah, seeing a range of 1 to 3 inches of accumulation. But again, over the past couple of hours, northern Utah back in the mix. So far, we got a report from Tooele with 1 inch of snow. Several locations about 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch. Even getting some reports of people shoveling on the east bench, anywhere between 2 to 3 inches of snow. Now, it's light snow that's falling, and the focus is across northern Utah, particularly as we go Davis, Salt Lake, Tooele County right now. As you're seeing that light blue indication that snow falling. Again, not much in accumulation, but it is sticking on the roads, making all kinds of slick conditions here as we go from Davis through Salt Lake County. Now, as we take a look, we've got areas of fog as well across northern Utah towards the Wasatch back. That could be a situation here for tonight. Now, we do have a winter storm warning in effect, or excuse me, winter weather advisory here across northern Utah. We'll talk about how long it will last and specifically what it means for your morning commute and how much more snow we're expecting as we head into the weekend. Those details in just a few minutes.
Answers we all want to know, Breck, thanks. The weather was cloudy in St. George, but it was a much different story in northern and central parts of Utah. Take a look at these pictures of this wreck on I-15 in Juab County this evening. It shut down the freeway for a few hours. At least 2 Utah Highway Patrol cars were hit. One car had a trooper inside, the other had a canine officer inside. The trooper was taken to the hospital as a precaution. We're told the canine trooper is doing all right.
BYU police posted these images on social media of a car that slid off of the road at the Y trailhead after snow in that area turned into a sheet of ice. Luckily, the driver of this car was not hurt, but they caution everyone to take it easy when the roads get dicey and bad weather like what we saw today. Ski season is well underway in Utah. This Sunday, UTA ski buses will finally start running up Big and Little Cottonwood Canyons weeks after most of the resorts in those areas have fired up their lifts.
Fox 13 News reporter Jenna Breed joins us live now from Big Cottonwood Canyon to tell us how skiers are feeling about the traffic issues. Jenna.
Brian and Kelly, last season, UTA's ski bus was running every 15 minutes up Big and Little Cottonwood Canyons. Now, this year, it will run every 30 minutes. UTA says this is due to hiring challenges and staffing shortages. I talked to a few local skiers and snowboarders about their concerns as the tourist season begins.
It's mayhem.
Without a bus to take them up the canyon, Spencer Daniels and Adam Ferner got creative.
I'll just park here and put my thumb up. Usually the first or second car just picks me up.
The Utah natives never used to have issues finding parking at Brighton and Solitude, but now they don't want to bother.
When I was learning to ski, it was usually the parking lot would be open by noon still. You could still find parking. Now it's by 10 o'clock, everything's roughly taken up.
Local skiers and snowboarders have spent hours in traffic this season.
You're expected to be bumper to bumper the entire way to the top.
Davis Kilpack says even when UTA's buses start running, he's not going to want to wait up to 30 minutes to hop on.
I feel like it's not worth my time to like want to park and wait for the bus.
The Central Wasatch Commission is currently working on a big Cottonwood Canyon mobility action plan.
We're looking for a couple of mobility centers where people can, so the bus doesn't have to go into the ski area parking lot.
Brighton's Mayor Dan Knoop wants to find a traffic solution that gives everyone the opportunity to enjoy the canyon.
You're going to exclude the poor people. You're going to exclude the unhealthy people. Who are you going to exclude? Who are you going to say you can't come up here? I want to have equal opportunity. It's got to be equitable.
Skiers and riders are thinking up solutions like expanding parking.
Giving more spots for people to park further up the canyon instead of just having the one down here.
Or maybe another gondola.
I think they should build one in Big Cottonwood too, though. That would be sick.
The Central Wasatch Commission will have a public online survey people can take in January. They hope to have a final mobility action plan in May of next year. Reporting live in Big Cottonwood Canyon, Jenna Bree, Fox 13 News, Utah.
A Duchesne County jail nurse was declared not guilty in the death of a 21-year-old inmate 6 years ago.
The case was previously dismissed, then reinstated by the Utah County Court of Appeals. Now the young woman's loved ones are telling Fox 13 News reporter Emily Tenser they still haven't given up hope for justice for their friend.
6 years after her death, friends of 21-year-old Madison Jensen wish the courts could have been on their side.
It angers me. It breaks my heart. It breaks a lot of people's hearts.
In December of 2016, Jensen was booked into the Duchesne County Jail on drug charges. On the first day, she weighed 127 pounds. When she was found dead of dehydration days later, she was 87 pounds.
And instead of taking her to the hospital to get checked out and treated maybe for an accidental overdose or a lace, she was transported to Duchesne County Jail.
Kelsey Roper remembers getting the call from her friend.
And she was begging for so long and wrote notes. She wasn't even supposed to be in jail.
On Monday, a judge declared that the jail nurse at the time, Jana Clyde, was not guilty of negligent homicide. In the ruling, he wrote that obvious institutional failures resulted in Jensen's death.
She was definitely neglected, and there's no reason it should have happened. She wasn't addicted to drugs. She wasn't a bad girl.
Jensen's loved ones won't let Monday's decision stop their pursuit for justice.
Something needs to be done. And I don't think it's ever going to stop until something gets done, because there's no reason it should have happened. Somebody needs to be responsible.
Emily Tenser, Fox 13 News, Utah.
We have an update tonight in Provo Police Department's search for whoever ran over and killed 21-year-old Izzy Parr last Thursday night. They're asking the public for help in identifying these two witness vehicles. They're a dark-colored crossover SUV and a four-door dark-colored truck. They're also looking for possible witnesses who are around 850 North, 800 West, just before 5:30 last Thursday night. If you recognize these vehicles, if you were near 8th North and 8th West last Thursday, contact Provo Police.
We are learning tonight about an incident where a Duchesne County deputy shot a man who threatened him with a knife on Monday night. It happened in the town of Mighton. The sheriff's office says the deputy tried to talk to the man named Lee Richens because he was riding a bike in the dark during a heavy snowstorm. Richens ended up getting into a chase with the deputy through the town and into the woods. The deputy then fired 2 rounds when Lee came after him. Lee was taken to Utah Valley Hospital, where he was listed in stable condition at last check. No word yet on if the deputy is being placed on leave. The Granite School District is closing 3 elementary schools by the end of this academic school year.
The schools that are closing are Spring Lane, Twin Peaks, and Mill Creek Elementary. School leaders conducted a 10-month-long study of 9 elementary schools on the west side of the district and found Twin Peaks, Spring Lane, and Mill Creek had some of the fastest declining populations. The school board voted unanimously to close them in a meeting last night. That decision has left some parents of students at those schools feeling upset and disappointed.
I think that was a concern for a lot of families, primarily because Mill Creek's very diverse. It's 50% minority, 50% white, and you don't see that balance in a lot of schools. Just statewide, really.
As for teachers, a spokesperson for the district says they will have to replace them in openings around the district and hire some additional staff.
It certainly wasn't just like a little slough slide, like it was a legit large avalanche.
A skier witnessing a massive avalanche on the Park City Ridgeline. What he and avalanche forecasters are wanting people to know amid Avalanche Awareness Week.
I was 3 years old. I had no idea what war was.
On the 81st anniversary of Pearl Harbor, a Utah man is telling his story of surviving the attack and how important it is to remember what happened on that day.
And it's, of course, in the state's interest to not publicize any mishaps.
Have you ever wondered if you're safe on a ski lift? A Fox 13 News investigation has paved the way so you can look up the safety records yourself. We'll tell you how.
Listen to this. A man is accused of breaking into a temple of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Well, it happened Monday night at the Provo City Center Temple. According to arresting documents, surveillance video shows a man breaking a stained glass window, then unlocking the door. Police identified that man as 33-year-old Luis Zamora. Now, Zamora told police he went inside the temple to stay warm, but he also told them the door was already open. He was arrested on suspicion of burglary.
Well, keep an eye out for this man. Take a look. Taylorsville police say he made fake ID cards in order to access other people's bank accounts and then steal their money. This happened at Cypress Credit Union and Deseret First Credit Union in Taylorsville. The surveillance photos are pretty clear, so again, please take a good look. Call police if you recognize this man.
Well, the holidays can be hard for some people, and they can be even more trying of times for victims of domestic violence. But two groups came together today to help make the season a little brighter for women seeking support. Lehigh-based group Jane teamed up with Fight Against Domestic Violence to host a holiday pop-up shop for women at The Refuge, a Utah-based women and children's shelter.
To be able to have this brought to them and do shopping for themselves with really beautiful clothing that is on trend and doesn't feel like a hand-me-down is really quite unique. So we're really grateful for this partnership.
Fight Against Domestic Violence donated all of the remaining items that were not sold to other domestic violence shelters throughout Utah. If you or a loved one is experiencing domestic violence, please reach out for help. The Utah Domestic Violence Coalition runs that 24/7 hotline, the number you see on your screen, 1-800-897-LINK. That's 1-800-897-5465, or you can always go to udvc.org.
Well, Governor Spencer Cox ordered flags to fly at half-staff today in honor of Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. A Utah man who was living in Hawaii 81 years ago shared his story of surviving the attack on Pearl Harbor. Mike Rose was born in Hawaii. He was just 3 years old when he remembers hearing loud noises and Japanese bombers flying over his home. Rose tells Fox 13 News that he spent the morning of December 7th, 1941, hiding under the stairs of his front porch. Today, he shared his experience and knowledge of the attack on Pearl Harbor with a handful of people at the Fort Douglas Military Museum. That included one moment he remembers just a week after the attack when his family first returned back to their home.
When we returned to our house, there was a giant cannon sitting in our front yard, one of those things that gets pulled behind a truck, and 4 genuine, real Army guys.
Wow, what a story. Eventually, Rose says his family would be put on a British ship and then sent to San Francisco. Rose says he hopes those who turned out to hear his story got a greater understanding of how the attack on Pearl Harbor not just changed our country, but the world.
They are super dangerous because they're breaking deep and wide. I mean, these are tree-snapping avalanches.
At the time, I was the only one up there, and it kind of felt a little surreal because for some reason I had like an inkling that something was going to happen, and then lo and behold, the whole thing broke away.
Aftermath of an avalanche on the Park City Ridgeline yesterday. But here's the video that you need to see. The slide itself captured by Luis Catania. The avalanche was massive. You could see it break and slide. This very well could have been deadly. Over the years, there have been numerous fatalities from triggered slides in Dutch Draw, which contributed to Park City Mountain Resort blocking off access to that backcountry area from their 9990 lift. Now, I spoke with a skier who witnessed this avalanche firsthand and the immediate response to see if anyone was buried.
I know that that area of the Wasatch is arguably the most dangerous that we have here. And so I just think it really needs to be informed to people, because you get lulled into this, wow, look at that great untracked, face of snow. Let me just duck the rope real quick and ski it and come back to the lift, not knowing that you might not make it back.
Catania was shooting a time-lapse video and captured the avalanche. He stayed at that overlook area while waiting for ski patrollers to arrive and saw the DPS helicopter surveying that area. Luckily, no one was caught in the slide. A reminder for you, it is Avalanche Awareness Week with events hosted by the Utah Avalanche Center all week long. You can find all of those classes and events, not just this week, but all season long, in this article on our website, fox13now.com.
Well, as we move into weather, let's go outside right now. As we mentioned earlier on the newscast, a concern here across Davis, Salt Lake, Tooele County right now. Light snow falling, and as you are seeing, it is sticking to the roads. There are a lot of slide-offs out there. We know this will be a concern here in the overnight hours. Now we're going to answer what's the potential of it lingering over into your Thursday morning commute. Well, as you take a look at radar right now, fairly active, at least as we look in those areas. Davis, Salt Lake, towards Tooele County, incorporating a little bit of Utah County, but the focus again, as you're making your turn from Tooele, moving over towards north into I-80, and then transitioning into the Salt Lake Valley as you go on the west towards the east, pushing further north. Once you get past, though, Bountiful, Centerville, the snow definitely letting up towards the Wasatch back. We've been looking at over towards Park City, light snow falling as well. It's a thin layer, it's a coating, and again, it's sticking to the road. So for now, moving and doing some traveling will be a concern here. Now, the good news is that we're going to be looking at conditions improving here in the overnight hours, but we've got a period of time that we're going to see the snow falling. As we take a look at your current temperatures here along the Wasatch Front, upper 20s to low 30s. Yeah. Temperatures in many locations below freezing. That's why it's sticking towards the roads. Now, it does stop overnight. So clearing up for your morning commute, that is good. It's all dependent, again, as those snow plows are out to clear the road, and hopefully they'll have that timeline between 2 a.m. into 6 a.m. that they'll have that opportunity. Now, we do get a break from the storm, seeing some sunshine, but we got more storms lining up. But specifically with what's going on right now, winter weather advisory in place until tomorrow at 2 a.m. I'll show you as we take a look at our models, hour by hour forecast, where again, once we get past midnight, the snow showers taper off. We move into 3 a.m. there in Salt Lake City. Again, it looks like it's not going to be much of a concern. Now, through the canyons could linger on for maybe a couple more hours thereafter. So definitely be cautious if you have traveled through the canyons. But through the valleys, again, things should improve. We get that break for Thursday. Another storm lining up, though. This is a target for our Friday storm. It's mainly going to be impacting northern into central Utah. A bigger storm behind that. The second half of the weekend, we get things going with more significant snowfall that will have a statewide impact as we look towards next week. But let's take a look at our computer models, getting you through the next 48 hours. Again, overnight, that storm moves away. We get the sunshine tomorrow. Could still see some areas of patchy fog, but a lot of sunshine moving through the afternoon. And then it looks like tomorrow night through Friday, we start to see the snow initially over the mountains, filling in the valleys. Looks like Friday, mid to late morning into the early afternoon. And then that storm moves on. We're priming the pump, though, where, again, as we go from Saturday into Sunday, we see our next storm. Again, that'll be a bigger storm with valley and mountain snow accumulations. Now, overnight, we'll see that snow here, again, tapering off by 1 a.m., 2 a.m. You see your overnight temperatures kind of in the teens and 20s for many locations. Tomorrow, it's definitely cool and cold, upper 30s here along the Wasatch Front. We see the sunshine as that allows temperatures to be in the low 40s as we look towards central Utah and low 50s in St. George. Now, this is the second storm moving through the weekend that you're going to see some rain and a mixture of rain and snow for St. George moving into Monday. And for northern Utah, we see that storm hitting Friday, breaks Saturday, Sunday initially rain. Then it looks like we're going to see some snow Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We keep the storms coming, and yeah, it'll impact your weekend.
All right, Breck, a lot going on. Thanks so much. Straight ahead, the CDC is warning about the risk for COVID once again. Their message for people traveling this holiday season.
And new details tonight in the investigation into kidnapping charge against the wives of a polygamous leader. After the break, the latest arrest and where these women were found.
Welcome back, everyone. In national news tonight, parts of the country are once again being encouraged to mask up. The CDC says people in parts of New York City should take precautions due to rising COVID infections.
To see more people gather this time of year in big crowds, that to keep yourself safe and keep those loved ones around you safe, especially those that might be immunocompromised, those that are older. It probably is safer to wear a mask.
Surges in other respiratory viruses like flu and RSV are straining hospitals across the country.
Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff gathered Jewish leaders and other advisors at the White House today. They talked about the rise in anti-Semitism and how to stop it.
Let me be clear. Words matter. People are no longer saying the quiet parts out loud. They are literally screaming them.
Emhoff says people can't and shouldn't normalize that behavior and that everyone needs to stand up against it when it does happen.
Last Christmas Eve, 167 people had to be rescued off a chairlift.
The resorts are obligated to be forthcoming with the state.
We asked for records of what happened, and now you can get them too.
Plus, a Fox 13 News exclusive. New data shows an increase in hate crimes across Utah. Which groups are impacted most and how the state is changing how it reports hate crimes.
And the Utes switch from celebration mode to preparation mode. Here for the team as they get ready for the Rose Bowl ahead in Fox 13 Sports. Stay with us.
In Utah, skiing represents about a $1.5 billion industry.
Allowing the public access to these incident reports could have a chilling effect.
It's, of course, in the state's interest to not publicize any mishaps.
This is a simple case of state law. The Deer Valley.
When Fox 13 News investigative reporter Nate Carlisle tried to confirm the cause of a ski lift breakdown late last year at Deer Valley, he asked for the records and wound up changing state policy in the process.
Here's Nate to explain.
Skiers had to be rescued and belayed to safety one by one. Take a look at this video.
You may remember these images from Christmas Eve. The Carpenter Express lift at Deer Valley broke down. 167 skiers had to be rescued. No one was injured.
The chair stopped working just before 3 in the afternoon Christmas Eve.
So the specific part that broke down was the flex coupler between the motor and the gearbox. So it was a catastrophic failure.
This report corroborates what Deer Valley told us, but this story isn't about the breakdown so much as what we had to do to get this record and what the Utah Department of Transportation is going to do now. Chairlifts and gondolas are regulated by an obscure agency within UDOT called the Passenger Ropeway Safety Committee. Resorts have to send their inspection and incident reports to that committee. So I filed a public records request asking for the report Deer Valley sent about the Carpenter Express breakdown. But UDOT denied my request.
Ski lifts are exceedingly safe, but it's still in the public good to have education and transparency.
Michael Kaplan lives in Park City and has taught ski resort management at universities.
In Utah, skiing represents about a $1.5 billion industry. And it's, of course, in the state's interest to not publicize any mishaps.
In its denials, UDOT cited a provision in the state's motor vehicle statutes saying accident reports aren't available to the public.
I'm Carlos Braceras. A lot of times people think, oh, we exist to plow snow or to build roads.
Also, UDOT Director Carlos Braceras wrote that Knowing an incident report will be a public record may cause the ropeway operator to avoid telling the entire story or filing the report at all.
The resorts are obligated to be forthcoming with the state.
The next item on the agenda is Nate Carlisle and the Department of Transportation.
We appealed and received a hearing before the State Records Committee.
Allowing the public access to these incident reports could have a chilling effect on the information reported by the ski resorts after an accident.
This is a simple case of state law. We argued the law UDOT was citing is for cars, not ski lifts. We also showed the Records Committee other states that do make public reports about ski lift breakdowns. Colorado, California, and Washington even disclose what injuries resulted from lifts. The Ropeway Committee wants us to take it on faith that its system worked here. The law provides us an opportunity to check that out. Committee members privately looked at the Deer Valley report.
We reviewed the recording camera. To me, it looks more like an incident or investigation report.
Equipment failed and was fixed, and the public needs to know that.
And with that,
And I vote aye. So the motion carries unanimously.
we won. But that's not where the story ends. Along with a copy of the report, the UDOT director included a note saying that from now on, UDOT would not consider ski lift and gondola incident reports to be a protected record. That means anyone in Utah should be able to get copies. At Alta, Nate Carlisle, Fox 13 News, Utah.
For state or local government public records, or if you need help appealing a denial, go to the web address on your screen, archives.utah.gov/open-government. You'll find the laws, templates, and an ombudsman who can answer all of those questions for you.
Testimony continued today in the wrongful death case of Esther Nakajigo. She was a 25-year-old Ugandan celebrity and humanitarian decapitated by a traffic control gate in Arches National Park. Her family now asking a federal judge for $145 million. But a government attorney today challenged a plaintiff witness's assumptions that Nakajigo could have earned 7 or 8-figure salaries within that nonprofit sector. Nakajigo's mother took the stand this afternoon. Speaking through a translator, she described how her daughter financially supported her family as well as health clinics for teenagers. The mother looked directly at Judge Bruce Jenkins and said, quote, "I want you to help me so I may get justice for my daughter." The trial resumes tomorrow.
An update to a story Fox 13 News reported on Monday. More wives of Sam Bateman, a polygamous leader on the Utah-Arizona border, have been arrested. The women were arrested on federal kidnapping and obstruction of justice charges. They're accused of helping 8 girls run away from Arizona Child Protective Services custody. The girls were found in Spokane, Washington. That's where court records show another of Bateman's wives was arrested. Court records say she has pleaded not guilty to the charges. Bateman remains in jail on obstruction of justice, but charges have yet to be filed by the federal government against him related to any abuses.
New data provided to Fox 13 News shows hate crimes are increasing across the state. The Utah Department of Public Safety validated 96 hate crimes in 2021. Most of those were vandalisms and simple assaults. Anti-LGBTQ hate crimes were the top documented cases, something Project Rainbow says it sees a lot. Their pride flags are regularly vandalized.
This just goes to show why it's still important to be so visible and outwardly supportive of queer people and outwardly prideful of yourself if you are a queer person, because, you know, it's that visibility and exposure that breaks down hatred.
DPS says this is the first year they have more conclusive data, all thanks to state law and policy changes requiring law enforcement agencies across Utah to document hate crimes.
Booze is big bucks in the state of Utah. New financial numbers from Utah's Department of Alcoholic Beverage Services shows the agency made over $500 million in liquor sales. It's $557.4 million to be exact. When you subtract costs to run the DABS and all of its liquor stores, roughly $230 million goes to state coffers. Money from state-run liquor sales go to public safety, school lunches for children in need, as well as the general fund. This year, the DABS did increase wages for liquor store employees.
Well, coming up, a church in Kearns celebrates 100 years, how it has grown over time as a staple of its diverse community.
Plus, there's a new resource for Utah veterans to make sure they can get enough to eat. We'll show it to you.
And before we go to break, let's go once again outside looking at I-1550 south in Murray. Look at the traffic at this hour. As we look ahead, we've got some conditions where we'll see treacherous traffic with several storms on the way. We'll show you the 7-day forecast after the break.
Welcome back, everyone. New data from the Department of Veteran Affairs reports 27% of veterans who were deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan often end up dealing with food uncertainty once they're back home. In a bid to address the issue here in Utah, the VA has opened a new food pantry at the Wayland VA Medical Center in Salt Lake City after the old pantry had to be closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
We knew that this was a needed resource just because of the challenges that veterans are facing economically. And so, in order for us to be able to help them and assist them, this is great having the pantry open and available.
The pantry is located at 500 South Foothill Drive and is open to any veteran enrolled in VA healthcare.
A church in Kearns is celebrating its 100th anniversary. The Point Church started as a historically black church in 1922 as New Pilgrim Baptist at a time where the African American population in Utah was less than 0.5%. When lead pastor Corey J. Hodges took over in 1998, he says he felt compelled by the Lord to diversify the congregation through changes to the music, dress, and preaching style of the church. Pastor Hodges says he believes the Bible teaches multiculturalism and that God called him to preach to all cultures.
Our goal here to make sure people from all walks of life, red, yellow, black, white, lower class, middle class, upper class, Republicans, Democrat, that human beings know the love of God.
The Point Church hopes to continue to be a staple in both Kearns and the greater Salt Lake community through their outreach programs.
He is a people president. He united the nation, the Ukrainian nation. I'm really proud of him.
Time magazine has awarded the 2022 Person of the Year designation with a twist. Why the recipient is sharing the nod with an entire country.
Christmas came early for some Utah students. We'll show you today's event that is Positively Utah. And a remarkable comeback by the Utah Jazz against the Golden State Warriors tonight at the Viv in downtown.
Amazing game. Fox 13 Sports Director Jeff Raniere will have the incredible highlights. You got to see these. He's coming up in just a moment. We'll be right back. Time magazine has announced its selection for the 2022 Person of the Year. The honor also going to the country he leads. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has been given the title this year. Time noting his leadership and dedication to this country, his country. Also the people of Ukraine being given a nod as Time recognized the spirit of Ukraine as a winner as well. Today, I talked with Utahn Oksana Omel, who moved here 22 years ago from Ukraine. She says the Person of the Year is going to the right man.
I think that is the best decision they can make. I'm really proud, and I think he deserves it all. I only wish that the war will end sooner, and I know that Ukraine will win. I know that for sure.
Oksana also told me she thinks it's amazing the support America has offered her home country, but would like to see more weapons sent to Ukraine to better take down Russia. By the way, Time magazine has bestowed the Person of the Year award since 1927.
Now to a story that is positively Utah. 30 students with special needs between the ages of about 18 to 23 from South Valley School got $150 to go Christmas shopping at Walmart in South Jordan. This was all made possible thanks to some community support and donations to the Jordan Education Foundation. The only rule in this Christmas for Kids event was that students had to shop just for themselves.
It is so contagious when you see the excitement and joy in these students' faces and their chaperones and all those involved. And we're in our 9th year. We don't ever see an end to this.
Through the same program on Saturday, 500 middle and high school students who might not have gotten presents otherwise will shop for their Christmas gifts with a volunteer to help, all through community contributions to that Jordan Education Foundation.
Well, we've been tracking this storm that's having an impact here across portions of the Wasatch Front, mainly Davis, Salt Lake, Tooele County into northern Utah Valley. We've been seeing slick roads out there. With light snow falling, it's quickly sticking. We've got this thin coating which is providing for treacherous roads here. And so traveling is going to be a concern here, at least initially tonight. Into the early morning hours, they will clear it off there, or it should stop by about 2 or 3 a.m. So it's all dependent on the snow plows getting out there, and we have confidence that they'll be able to clear off the roads just in time for your morning commute. That's fingers crossed there. Now, as we talk about this storm, again, it's not a big snow producer, but it doesn't take too much, though, as we're seeing, because we do have temperatures below freezing at the surface. As it does quickly stick, it just takes a little thin layer to really provide for some slick roads out there. But as you can see, kind of in the range of 1 to 3 inches. We've been seeing mainly 1/2 an inch as we look to the central part of the valley. But as you move towards the benches, we've been getting reports of 2 to 3 inches, meaning that some of you, again, as you move closer towards the benches, you might have to do some shoveling here in the overnight hours. So snow falling right now in Salt Lake City at the airport, as well as downtown. Temperatures, as mentioned, below freezing. Now, here's the thing. Looking ahead, we've got more storms on the way. We have one hitting Friday. It's kind of a weak storm. It's going to be brushing by northern and central Utah. Bigger storm, though, as we go from Sunday, which will then provide statewide precipitation Monday into Tuesday. Yeah, we keep it going here across the state. So this storm, again, will have its impact here tonight through early morning, 2, 3 a.m. It's moving on. Then we get a break. Another storm, though, as I mentioned, for Friday, in its target, it gets here. So let's take a look long range, what we're expecting here over the next 6 to 7 days. Storm moving on. There we're seeing the sunshine for tomorrow. It's going to be a cold day with temperatures only in the 30s along the Wasatch Front. We're seeing impact of that storm on Friday. Again, it's mainly northern into central Utah. So from Logan to Nephi, as we turn over towards southwest Wyoming, that storm moves on as well. Saturday, we've got some clouds. Sunday, it gets going. Look at the wide track of this storm. Wow, it is impressive. It's got the juice, it's pumping in, and it keeps the moisture and the precipitation going Sunday into Monday. Initially starting off with rain, then rain turning into snow, with snow implications all the way down through St. George into Tuesday as well. This one looks to be impressive. Of course, we'll update you exactly how much snow we're expecting for the valleys and mountains as we move through the weekend. But get ready. This has been a great start, and we keep it going. Now, overnight, temperatures in many locations in the 20s, teens through central Utah. We see the snow. Again, Davis, Salt Lake, Tooele, and Utah counties over towards portions of the Wasatch back, and then it moves on. So a nice day tomorrow with the sunshine. Could see some patchy fog out there. St. George, you've got 50s, sunny skies. You're not going to see much of an impact until that bigger storm. Sunday brings some rain, a mixture of rain and snow Monday. Looks like early Tuesday it should be out of there. Northern Utah, again, that weak storm Friday, a little bit of snow out of there by Saturday. We've got some winds, though, and some clouds. We'll keep it windy on Sunday with the rain starting off, and then snow Monday, Tuesday into Wednesday.
Well, the Jazz did not have Lauri Markkanen tonight against the Golden State Warriors, but the Warriors were without their 3 All-Stars, Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, all out. Crazy ending to this game. Jordan Clarkson drives and scores 2 of his 22. That tied it up at 56, or tied it up with 50 seconds to play. Got physical. Clarkson and Jonathan Kuminga go after it. Clarkson ejected after a flagrant 2 foul was called. Jazz down 4 in the final seconds. Malik Beasley, 3 is good. The lead was down to 1 with 6 seconds to play. The Jazz then get the steal ahead to Simone Fontecchio, and he throws it down. While the Jazz rallied to beat the Warriors 124-123. Wild ending. BYU was at home against Utah Valley. The Wolverines beat the Cougars in overtime last season. They were strong again. Justin Harmon lays it in. He had 19 points. Fuseni Traore led BYU with 18. Scores down low. BYU led it by as many as 11 in the first half, but the Wolverines were strong down the stretch. Taj Small with the hammer. And then it's the trade Darthart with 3. That put it away. Utah Valley does it again. Beat BYU 75-60. The 8th-ranked Utah football team is headed back to the Rose Bowl for their second year in a row to play number 11 Penn State. The Utes lost to Ohio State in their only Rose Bowl appearance last season, so getting back to winning the granddaddy of them all has been a major focus this season.
It was cool to go to the Rose Bowl last year, but it was a letdown that we lost. And even though we gave a great effort, a loss is a loss. So there were really no consolation prizes for losing the Rose Bowl. It wasn't good enough to our standards. So yeah, it's a big emphasis this year to win.
Definitely unfinished business. It'd be good to get that nasty Rose Bowl taste out of our mouth from last year and get out there and knock them down this year. But this season's been hella rewarding in terms of what we've accomplished. I think it plays the same part for the Rose Bowl. This will be our second time, and this time we can go and do it the right way.
BYU officially introduced Jay Hiller as their new defensive coordinator and associate head coach. He leaves Weber State as the Wildcats' all-time leading coach in wins with 68, 6 trips to the playoffs, and 4 Big Sky titles during his 9 seasons as the Wildcats head coach.
The opportunity to work with Kalani again, and my respect for him and his program that he's built and everything I believe in what he's doing here made it much easier. And I believe in everything BYU's doing, the direction they're heading, and I just, the excitement of what we can continue to build is, that's exciting to me. That's kind of what drew me to this opportunity.
That Jazz ending was something else. The Warriors had them put away. Somehow they get a 3 to cut it to 1, a steal, and the bucket, it was quite...
It was clean at the end too, right? No foul, nothing. It was totally clean.
No fouls, but that flagrant 2 with JC. Put the cuffs up.
Ooh.
Boy.
A little rough there, but
fireworks
Jazz
in Salt
win.
Lake City.
Major win.
Yeah, that is big. That'll get them back on track, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah, we'll see.
Mojo is that, Brian.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. The mojo. Google Trends is showing us the most popular Christmas movies for each state. You can see one is popular almost everywhere. Utah, like almost everyone else, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation was popular all across the country.
Is that a Winnebago with the tree on top?
That's what it is. It would make sense.
That's the RV, the cousin's RV, right?
Quick Cast is next.